it's Owen here from OTech, and today I'll be showing you guys my graphics card collection. Well, at least the start of it. So, lately I've been buying some old ATI graphics cards, as you can see, because I thought that the old cards look really cool, compared to the newer ones. They look really unique. And I was really interested in them, so I started looking up on eBay for used ones that were in good condition, and these are what I found so far. I'm still missing a lot of cards that I want to buy, like for example I'm missing the HD 4890, which is from the 4000 series, but for now I just have these 4 cards. You might have already seen my unboxing of the HD 5870 from Sapphire here on this one. Well, this one's diamond branded, but it's basically a Sapphire card. But these 3 cards are brand new. I just bought these 2. So what's interesting about these cards are that these are brand new, like I said, they're completely clean, no dust on them, still brand new. That's what I try to find every time. I don't want to buy some crappy card that's been like super dusty and scratched up all over the place. I only buy the ones that are still in good condition for me to collect for myself. So yeah, without further ado, these are the cards. So this is a Radeon X1900 XT. This is an HD 2900 GT. This is an HD 3870, and this is an HD 5870. So let's start off with the oldest one. So the Radeon XT 1900 XT. This was a really old graphics card. I think this is from like 2006, and this wasn't even the highest end card of that generation. I couldn't find a good condition X1950 XT or X1900 XT, but I could find this X1900 XT. Not the X1900 XTX. Well, it gets kind of confusing with old cards. I was honestly kind of confused when looking at all the listings of all these X1900 cards, because they had so many iterations of them. There was the X1900 XT, X1900 GT, X1950 XTX, X1950 XT. It's all just super confusing. But they all pretty much look the same, except for the X1950 XTX, which was a revision, which is like kind of a refresh. So that looked different, but all of them look basically the same thing. Same PCB, same cooler, which I'll show you guys in a closer look, which looks really unique. But yeah, this was based on ATI's old RV580 GPU, I believe. That's what it's called. And this was a high-end card back then. But this wasn't the fastest one. There was the X1900 XTX before the 1950 XTX refresh, and that one had slightly higher clock speeds and usually more memory, because this one only has 256 megabytes of VRAM. And I did try all of these cards. They do work on Windows and stuff, on Windows 10 even, but they don't play new games, obviously. Even though this supports the X9, like Rocket League, I tried to open that game, it just immediately crashed. Mostly because it doesn't have enough VRAM, but I'm not so sure. I'm probably gonna try to dual boot to Windows 7 or XP on my test bench too, to test these cards. But yeah, really unique card. I really like how it looks. That's why I bought it. I mean, these are all for just my collection anyway. So all I really care the most about are the looks. So if I couldn't get a good condition 1900 XTX, then I'll just get a good condition 1900 XT. They look the same. So here we go. I'll show you guys the cooler itself. It's really weird because they have this like massive copper slab on the bottom and lots of copper fins. And the way it works is that it pulls the air from the front here, and it kind of goes over the VRM heatsink, which you can see is a 6+1. And back then this wasn't a digital PWM, so it's all analog circuit. So yeah, it's a really old card, so it doesn't even drop to idle clocks during idle, at least not on Windows 10. Not sure about other Windows version and drivers. And so basically the air goes over the heatsink as it gets pulled by this fan, which looks really interesting to me, because this is basically the normal centrifugal blower fan that you find on graphics cards, like these ones and these ones, but it's mounted on the back of the heatsink. So usually you'll find it here like that one, but this one's over here, so it's pulling air through the heatsink, then blowing it out the back. So yeah, it's kind of a weird concept that they designed a heatsink and fan combination like this. And to be honest, it didn't work too well for them because this card ran quite hot and it was also quite loud, just as when I was testing it. Especially on startup, when the fan goes to 100%, it's super loud. Like, it's ridiculous. So I'm glad no one makes such a cooler like this anymore, but I do like the looks of it. The transparent squirrel cage lower casing looks really cool to me. And they still have the old Ruby graphics from ATI on here, which you don't see anymore from AMD Radeon. So yeah, that's quite nice. It also has a PCIe 1X 16X connection, 1.0 16X, and a 6-pin connector. So this is when 6-pin connectors were already a thing. Cards before these were still using like Molex or some other things as the power source. And yeah, you know, you can tell this card is completely brand new, just like the other ones, because you can see that the back panel I/O port, like metal plates, are still super shiny, no blemishes or like oil marks. So you can tell this card is still completely, oh whoops, I almost dropped it there, still completely brand new. But yeah, let's move on to the next card. But I guess this video is gonna take a while because I'm gonna explain each one of it. So this one's the Radeon X1900 XT. This was basically the second fastest, if I'm not mistaken, of its time, because the highest end one was the 2900 XT. But I couldn't find a good price for a good condition one. I found one that was good condition, but it was like almost $70, so no way I'm paying that. This was just, I paid only like $20 for these ones each. $20, quite cheap for like a brand new great condition graphics card from like 10 years ago. And this one was like $30. I actually still have the box for this one. I also got it. These ones don't have the boxes, so probably OEM systems or something. Yeah, the box for this one's not in great condition though, but the box for the diamond card 5870 was still in great condition. But anyways, going back to this card, this was when ATI used their semi-transparent, translucent red shroud for their fans and coolers, and they used their silver flames. It's kind of an iconic look. I think it looks pretty cool. I really like this one. I think this is my favorite card of them all. It looks the best in my opinion. And obviously I like the X1900 XT with the transparent blower casing and stuff. It looks really cool too. This one has an 8-pin because it's a higher power card. Although honestly, this card would fit in a 6-pin. I guess just they used to still put overkill power pins. I'm not sure. But yeah, it has a normal blower on it, just like the newer cards, but the shroud is completely different. And it doesn't enclose the whole thing like newer cards, so you can see the PCB is still hanging out. Kind of like an old style graphics card still. And yeah, the heatsink is also copper, so these both of these cards are copper, and they're ridiculously heavy. You wouldn't expect this to be heavy, but this is super heavy because this thing has a massive copper slab on the bottom, and the heatsink fins are quite dense, and so is this one. This has copper heatsinks, and it's quite dense, so it's quite heavy as well. And this one is when they start using heat pipes too, so that's pretty cool. These ones don't have heat pipes yet. And on the bottom, again, PCIe 1.0 16X, still 1.0, and also on the back you have the exhaust like usual. And all of these three cards have as video still, and 2 DVI ports. So yeah, but these DVI ports on all these cards can carry audio if you use an HDMI adapter, so that's pretty cool because ATI was the first one to make audio over HDMI before Nvidia did. And yeah, that's pretty cool, I think, because they put that technology first, just like their neutral audio technology, although that one's kind of flop because you don't see that in new graphics cards anymore. And this was also the first time ATI used their Crossfire fingers for the bridges over here. Before, they had special Crossfire edition cards that has a special connector on the back, or was it just a DVI connector? I'm not too sure, but yeah, you connect them through the outside, but these are the first cards that connect from the inside using a bridge. So that's pretty cool. And this one's got quite an interesting history, so yeah, I thought this card's pretty cool. And again, it's still brand new, the plate's still all nice and shiny, and the fan's completely clean. These are in super great condition. I'm super stoked and happy to get these cards. And this one now, the Visiontek HD 3870. This isn't the stock reference graphics card like these two were, but you know, back then when they launched the 3870, the stock card was horrific. You know, it's terrible. It reaches like 80 something degrees, and the fan was loud because they used a super tiny heatsink. So you know, when I found this in good condition, I would say that I just kind of jumped on it because yeah, look at that, it's still brand new again. The fan looks like it has some dust, but I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't look really like normal dust to me. Maybe it's just like dust from the plastic molding or something. But yeah, it's still completely brand new. Well, this one is just advertised as new but open box, but I couldn't see any dust on the heatsink fins and not on the top of the card shroud or anything like that. Even the PCB is still super clean like the other cards, so it's pretty much still brand new as well. Now this one, I actually tried it and it does work with Rocket League because it has 512 megabytes of VRAM. I think that's the minimum you want for like modern games at least, because 256 is just too small, just crashed the game immediately. This one actually does a pretty decent job at Rocket League. I use like medium settings and I could get over 60 FPS, so that's pretty cool. I'll make a video of benchmarking all these cards eventually too. So yeah, here's the design that Visiontek used. You know, Visiontek, well, I'm not too sure if they still exist or not, but yeah, they used to be quite a popular ATI Radeon add-in board partner. They use this like kind of like a laptop style blower fan, and it blows over the heatsink over here, which is also, well, it looks like copper, but I'm not sure it actually is copper because it doesn't weigh as much as this one. So it might be just copper painted aluminium heat sinks, because you know, it might look silver on the camera, but it looks like copper in real life on the heatsink parts. But I'm sure that they have this copper base, so that's pretty nice that you see a lot of copper on old graphics cards. You definitely don't see that anymore nowadays. You even get like copper VRM heatsinks, which looks pretty cool to me. So yeah, interesting card, and looks really cool. I really like the looks of all of these cards, but obviously this one looks the most badass with all the flames and stuff. And yeah, this card has a 6-pin. This was like the RX 480 of its generation, because ATI couldn't compete with the Nvidia high-end, so they kind of just launched the 3870 as the mid-high-end competitor, like the RX 480 or 580 was before Vega. So yeah, kind of similar story as a 480, I guess. Pretty interesting because they couldn't compete with the high-end. And yeah, that back panel is still super clean, 2 DVI, 1 S-video output. You know, a card is old when it has S-video. And yeah, it also has SLI connectors, so you can connect up to 4 of these, same as this one. So yeah, pretty interesting, especially considering it's like the RX 480. So it's not like the RX 480 was, you know, Radeon's first rodeo on making the high-end, mid-range high-end graphics card, but not the Halo level. So now I bring you guys to the last card of my current collection. Well, it's making the freaking brightness break, so I'm gonna fix that. Okay, so this is the Diamond Radeon HD 5870. This is actually a Sapphire card. This was actually the Sapphire I'm pretty sure it's a Sapphire Vapor X, or no, it's a Sapphire Toxic second edition or something, with the blue PCB. And you know, you might think, oh, it's a custom card, it should be pretty good. Well, it's actually the crappiest 5870 you can buy. Well, not the crappiest, because it has a massive cooler. Like, it has 5 heat pipes, and heatsink extends to this side and this side, and it has a central fan. So it's kind of weird design because the fan doesn't blow directly on the heatsink under it, but it's a pretty thick bladed fan. You know, the thickness of the blades are thicker than most normal GPUs. And how it works is basically it blows the air down and out to the sides onto the heatsink fins, and also on this side. So kind of a really old retro design of a heatsink, you know, with the central fan and stuff. But yeah, it works really well. It cools really good. But the problem is that this PCB is like a cost down version of the reference card. So you don't have like software controlled voltage control with this card. So this voltage controller is super dumb compared to the reference 5870. So that kind of sucks. Although the 5870 that's on the reference card has a shit cooler, so I guess it's kind of like a trade-off. But the VRM itself are pretty fine. Those are pretty good VRMs under there with the massive black heatsink. Well, the focus is kind of broken. I hate this iPhone. Okay, yeah. Basically, this is the Sapphire Toxic that's not so amazing. But what I fixed to do that, what I do to fix that is that I found some voltage mod guides, and basically you just have to put like a pencil drawing on one of the resistors, so that's what I did, and it increases the voltage by a lot. And I managed to get like 1040 megahertz out of this card, which is pretty insane because some of the 5870 Lightnings that I saw in forums and also review couldn't hit that without using so much voltage and getting super hot. Well, this one still stayed like around 70 degrees, although the fan is running quite fast, but you know, it managed at 1040 megahertz overclock, which is pretty insane. And I really like this card because, you know, it's completely brand new in box, like still sealed. It's still sealed when I bought it. You might have seen my unboxing. If you haven't already, you might want to check it out. It's pretty cool. Like, it comes with all the accessories and stuff, and it has dual 6 pins now because this one is the higher end AMD card. This was actually literally the highest end graphics card during its time. This was when AMD basically reinvented, well, ATI basically reinvented themselves, because suddenly they were kicking Nvidia's ass like for a good like half a year before they launched something competitive with the GTX 480, which kind of blew this out with their performance, although the 480 was way less efficient. I mean, imagine a time where ATI Radeon stands for efficiency and Nvidia Geforce stands for, you know, crappy efficiency. Quite the opposite from the how it is today. So what I'm missing is basically the HD 4890. That's what I wanted to find, but I couldn't find a great condition one at a good price. So yeah, I guess I'll just wait. For now, this is all I have. And so basically these all work. Still brand new cards. These are like OEM parts, I'm guessing, because they don't have the original box. I only got like a brown box. This one has its own box, but it's kind of banged up. Not too interesting, although it does have all the accessories. Like, it even has an S-Video breakout cable and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool to see, because you don't see that anymore in newer cards, and you know, that's quite interesting. But this one's the best condition one by far, because this one is literally still sealed in the box, so that's quite interesting, and I really like this one the most for like its condition. Although this one looks the coolest. I mean, look at all that silver flames. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my collection. Kind of a long video, but I kind of want to talk about it. Just wanted to talk about it. Nothing too specific or too in-depth about these kind of videos that I just did. So yeah, but thank you for watching. Hope you find it interesting, and if you do, please leave a like and please click subscribe to see more of my future videos. Thanks for watching.